Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome once more to my Tabletop RPG News Roundup, where each week I take a look back at the week in tabletop role-playing game news and bring you the highlights, this time for May 25th, 2025. We'll start with an upcoming book for D&D. The Book of Dragons is slated to release sometime in August of this year. Rather than being a rule book, it will include illustrations and lore based on the various dragons of the D&D world for those lore hounds out there. Free League Publishing is looking to come up with 2 new books for Dragonbane. There will be crowdfunding campaigns for them in June. They will be on BackerKit, so I don't know if I'm going to cover them, but I will mention them when they come up. They will be focused on Arcan, City of Waves, and Flame, and then a Book of Magic that adds new schools of magic. The Goodman Games / Judges Guild fiasco of the city-state of the Invincible Overlord continues apace, with some semi-contradictory statements being put out by Bloodsaw and Goodman Games. I am inclined to believe the actual arrangements are more in line with the statement from Goodman Games, but it seems like more trouble for an already rocky project. Due to the goading on of a number of people who just want to see everything about this project crash and burn, at a certain point, just being quiet might be the best choice in terms of PR from all parties involved. Onwards towards minor and PDF releases, Legendary Games has a few offerings in their Arcforge setting for Starfinder. There's the Player's Compendium that gives player-focused material, as well as the Universe Cyclopedia. Grong's Guide to Galarian, Ancestries of Iblidos, offers a collection of Pathfinder material focused on the ancient Greece-inspired islands within the Galarian setting, including backgrounds, feats, heritages, ancestries, and so forth. Sneak Attack Press has This and That, Pip and Pawn, a mini supplement that includes material for putting games within your tabletop game, basically like, board games, gambling, that sort of thing. It is available in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, D&D 5th Edition, as well as Savage Worlds versions. Art of the Genre has The Complete Virgin Mine, a collection of their latest Mega Dungeon material into a single volume, statted for both 5th Edition as well as AD&D. Kel'Thuzil's Tales has another set of treasure hunts, their small adventures dealing with a single item each. There's Chikaze, Bow of 1,000 Winds, Azurite Hammer, Kaneshimi, Sword of Sorrows, and the Ever-Flowing Spring Cloak, each one for 5th Edition. The Voice Under the Sea is another 5th Edition adventure, this one from Mammoth Factory, being the 5th of 7 one-shot adventures in the Fateless fairy tale-based setting. Into the Dark Deep is a 5th Edition compatible adventure where a mysterious opening has appeared outside of town, and where when only one person survives the initial exploration, the party is sent to figure out what is going on down there. The Dragon's Eyrie is a dungeon adventure set within a sky temple, a floating temple where a dragon's hoard is. It is statted for 5th edition, although I believe this was actually also produced for other systems already, so there's that. Locales of Sundara, Derga's Bones, details a single location within the Sundara setting, this time dealing with a specific set of buildings, or I think a single building within Elmbarrow. Emberland Hex 4D, The Tower and the Temple, details a single hex within the Emberland Zine series, including various NPCs and such, supposedly statted for 5th edition or similar RPG systems. Dammit, Dwarven Assault Mining and Neutralization Interception Team, 5th edition, is the 5th edition compatible version of a sci-fi RPG focused on space dwarves in deadly places. Entromancy, Definitive Edition, is a cyberpunk fantasy RPG built on the 5th edition rule set, with a definitive edition containing the original Cyberpunk Fantasy rule set, along with the Oricite Age Omnibus content. Echoes of the Unknown, a monster compendium, is a 5th edition monster compendium that contains a number of creatures with lore, description, and more. Then Haitian Voodoo Bestiary is another, Voodoo, whatever you pronounce it as, is another monster manual for 5th edition, this time themed around creatures and spirits from Haitian tradition. Anyway, Ancient Sage Games has a collection of system-neutral items for any fantasy RPG split into Weapons of Legend and Weapons of Legend 2. Masterworks is a modular crafting and customization system for 5th edition that allows for creating, but also improving weapons and other gear using rare materials, enchantments from various schools of magic, as well as monster parts and so forth. Then Grim Reality is a set of modular hardcore rules that can be used in whole or in part for 5th edition to make it grittier and potentially more deadly. Kobold Press has the Widcallum Curse, a Tales of the Valiant compatible adventure that deals with an exiled Thane returning to reclaim his family homeland. From Out of Nowhere, Book 2, Knowledge's Power, is the second of a set of Knoll-based trilogies of adventures 4 Dungeon Crawl Classic system, this time dealing with the warden of a great wood who was kidnapped by an evil wizard. The Graveyard of Sorrows is available in Castles and Crusades version, and it is an adventure that is horror-themed and deals with an undead family looking for revenge. Oblon is a setting for Shadowdark RPG set within a once mighty empire, now split into various factions, inspired by the fantasy worlds of Elder Scrolls, Avernum, and similar games. Lair of the Forgotten Queen is another Shadowdark offering, this one a set of 4 linked adventures that might eventually lead to a lair within the ruins of an unfinished wizard stronghold. Heroes and Beggars, for old school essentials and similar OSR systems, is a collection of adventurers to meet, fight, or help, each with their own stats and story. The False Temple is an OSR sandbox and mega dungeon dealing with a demigod trapped within his own temple. Ferric Resonance is a dark fantasy system neutral adventure focusing on investigation and survival. Advanced Adventures number 47, The Worm That Gnaws, is an Osric compatible adventure where the party seeks shelter while on the road, only to find something odd about the manor and the lore they find. Sickest Witch, Blood Property, is a low-level adventure suited for a follow-up to the intro adventure for Sickest Witch RPG suited for a level 2 coven. Dungeon Crawl Pocket is a pocket-sized complete fantasy RPG system meant for ease of use and play. Fire Bee is a supplement for the Dragonbane system. It's basically a single additional creature from the separately available Raznang's Bestiary. Darrington Press has the Daggerheart system out with a core rulebook detailing the system that they'll be using, I believe, on some Critical Role stuff. Basically looking to be a fantasy RPG with a lot of narrative flexibility, take that as you will. Carrion Lands is a tabletop RPG in a grim, harsh world, taking cues from the harshest elements of the sword and sorcery genre, but still inspired by various D20 OSR games. There's resource management as well as a key portion of it. Repscallion is a powered by the Apocalypse system that focuses on swashbuckling adventures. Chaosium has the Age of Vikings core rulebook based on their basic role-playing system. It takes place in a mythic medieval Iceland. Mythic Judaism is an offering for Ars Magica that details the various elements of Jewish magic, scholarship, and other material in the medieval world of mythic Europe. Whispers of the Woods is a minimal RPG set in the 18th century where the characters are villagers journeying into the dark, frightening woods. The Limehouse Piper is a Call of Cthulhu gaslight scenario set in the 1893 London, where a cult has incited open killings in the East End. Burton's Motel is a 1920s-era Call of Cthulhu one-shot that takes place in a motel along the road between Arkham and Boston. Modifius has Octoon Cthulhu 2D20, Ill-Flown by Moonlight, a scenario that involves escorting a set of arcane items bound for a local resistance group. Up a Creek Without a Heartbeat is a Brindlewood Bay mystery which has 2 people turning up dead during a canoe race. Neon Blood Year Zero is a Year Zero engine ultra-violent cyberpunk game set in 2035. It's available in several versions. Finally, there's the Nuaden Chronicles rulebook, an RPG that deals with a post-apocalyptic realm where steam and magic have ignited a new age of industrialization. And with that, let's take a look at crowdfunding campaigns. Remember that contributing to a crowdfunding campaign should be done only at your own risk. Doing so is no guarantee of even receiving a product. Mentioned here is not an endorsement. It is for informational purposes only. And we'll start with Rise of the Drow After the Fall from AAW Games. It'll be a 5th edition compatible offering that takes place after the Drow city has been conquered, and now as prisoners they must rise again. The Rise of the Black Lion is to be a 5th edition adventure, Volume 2 of the Legends of the Ashen Shield, set in a realm of chivalry and ancient power. The Master of Strings will be a steampunk campaign for 5th edition, which will include not only game support material, but also potentially new music, miniatures, etc. Tenshikai, Land of the Unseen, will be a 5th edition compatible setting with its own playable species, a detailed history and culture, as well as a full introductory adventure. Stormhaven will be a one-shot 5th edition adventure that focuses on a cursed island where it never stops raining and an ancient entity is awakening. The Fallen Halls will be a one-shot for 5th edition OSR and Dragonbane from Laidback DM within the Draken's Loon adventure set. Portraits of the Damned will be a gothic horror 5th edition adventure. This one set in a city where nobles never age, reliant on cursed portraits, so like an entire city of Dorian Greys. The Plague of the Queen will be a 5th edition adventure that has the party setting out to find a cure for a plague that has also begun to claim the Queen. And relies on 4 ever-increasingly difficult-to-acquire ingredients. Skyfall looks to be a 5th edition Aetherpunk-style setting, mingling magic, machinery, and mystery. Ariane's Bestiary, Birth and Evolution of Vampire Species, will be a 5th edition compatible adventure as well as a bestiary of vampiric creatures. Creatures of the North will be a 5th edition Nordic-inspired bestiary that looks to add additional material as more backers sign on. D100 Towns and Cities will be a collection of inns, taverns, shops, NPCs, and more that are set into tables for fast settlement creation for fantasy RPGs. 50 whimsical and weird items will be a collection of 50 magic items for 5th edition, as well as some unique NPCs available as an add-on. Veil of Lumitus will be a tabletop RPG along with a world of Caldera in which it's set. It will be a narrative RPG that will be collected in 5 different books. Southern Gothic will be a Gothic horror RPG set in a post-Civil War South after a few years after the war, featuring a family who has connections to the supernatural. Finally, there is Astra Arcanum, a sci-fi tabletop RPG that focuses on deep tactical combat, in-depth character creation, as well as its own involved setting. And on that note, I'm going to wrap things up here. This has been the RPG Crawler with my Tabletop RPG News Roundup for May 25th, 2025. As always, links will be below. If you like what you see, remember to leave a like, comment, your feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content. I have to go try and record some more Planescape Torment so I can get some up this coming week. Until next time, take care and goodbye.